Anxiety, I'm going to avoid scary things. Scary things could be snakes, it could be buses, it could be lots of things, but it could also be feelings. So it could also be responsibility, it could also be other things, all right? What happens when we start avoiding scary things? Well, it reduces activity, increasingly restricts our life, and earlier if you remember me talking about the blinders, like get on a horse, life just gets more narrow, and it undermines confidence. So to take you back to that advisor voice in your head, let's just imagine your value is, I want to try out for the theater team. I don't care if I'm in a play, I want to be in the I just want to try out for the theater team, right? And there's a day for tryouts, right? You know it's coming. You know it's coming weeks in advance, right? And so you're pumped up, you're getting ready to go. But every day it gets closer, a young person dealing with any level of anxiety is getting a little more concerned about it and thinking about it, right? That day comes up, and that just happens to be a day a panic attack hits. Who knows? Something goes wrong, and they don't go in and they don't try out that day, all right? And their thought is there's another play coming out. There's another tryout day coming up either next semester or whenever we do the next play, right? Well, I'll tell you what. You have now proven to your advisor that was already telling you weren't good enough that you couldn't do it. So the next time you try, guess what it gets to say? Hey, you didn't make it last time. Why do you even possibly think you could do this time? All right? And so it's undermining the confidence. You get you do any of those things, it worsens how you feel about yourself, if not physically, leads to more anxiety, and we regularly see this cycle into depression. All right? So when I talk with parents a lot, I talk about ADHD can turn into anxiety, can turn right into depression. You start avoiding stuff, you don't have much going on in your life, all right? But to be fair, it can start at depression, however you get to depression. So what is depression? You're flat, you're not interested in something, it reduces the total activity in your life. It's a loss of things that used to give fun, pleasure, and or a sense of achievement. I do enjoy the dopamine language and and looking at what's actually going on biologically in our head, because dopamine is that pleasure sensation, all right, that you get. And you can get it a couple different ways, but the best, healthiest way to do it is to set a goal and start moving towards it. So if I say, I'm going to use the example of, like, maybe I used to go bike riding, all right? Now I'm feeling depressed. A friend calls me up on a Saturday morning and say, hey, let's go for a bike ride. And you're like, no, I don't really have any energy today. I'm depressed. I don't feel like going. Well, you've immediately lost all the endorphins you get from physical activity. You've also lost that dopamine hit of saying, I'm going on a bike ride, I'm going 5 miles. Even if you don't make it 5 miles, if you start on a bike ride and you start going, that's when you get that pleasure sensation. I set a goal and I started towards it. Does not mean you have to succeed or fully meet it. But when you see a young person who is not doing those things, not setting goals, not having a purpose or direction, this is when risky behaviors can also get you a dopamine hit. Drugs can also get you a dopamine hit, that pleasure sensation. So they start replacing healthy ways with it. And clearly, if you're not going on the bike, you're not doing physical things, it worsens how you feel, leads to depression. This cycles all the way down into despair and hopelessness and shutdown. Does that kind of make sense to everybody? We see this progression. It can start here. It can start in anxiety. You just put it together, because it's not always avoidance. So anxiety, depression, it can look like unhelpful behavior. So cutting, vaping, lots of things you could do that are unhelpful that either worsen the problems you already have or they make up new ones, right? Worsens how you feel, leads to more anxiety. It's just a vicious, vicious cycle.